Shenandoah National Park, a sanctuary of natural splendor, where the whispers of the wind through the trees and the gentle murmur of streams create a symphony of serenity, a place of breathtaking beauty, towering trees, cascading waterfalls, and breathtaking vistas. It's a haven for those seeking peace and a connection with the wild. But in the spring of 1996, a darkness fell upon this tranquil landscape. The park, usually a refuge, became the backdrop for a chilling mystery. Two young women, full of life and eager for adventure, vanished without a trace. Their disappearance cast a long shadow over the park. Julianne Williams and Laura Winans were experienced outdoor enthusiasts. They had a deep love for nature and a passion for exploring the unknown. They were excited to embark on a week-long backpacking trip through the park's scenic trails. Their journey was meant to be a celebration of their bond and their shared love for the outdoors. Little did they know, their adventure would end in tragedy. The beauty of Shenandoah would soon be overshadowed by a grim reality. On May 24th, 1996, they set off into the park, their backpacks filled with supplies and their spirits high. They were ready to leave behind the stress of daily life and immerse themselves in nature's embrace. They left behind their worries and the hustle of everyday life. They sought solace and adventure in the embrace of nature, hoping to find peace and joy in the wilderness, but they never came back. And their story remains a haunting reminder of the shadows that can lurk, even in the most beautiful places. Days turned into nights. The silence from the mountains grew deafening. Friends and family of Julianne and Laura became increasingly concerned. They reported the pair missing to the authorities. The search for the missing women began. Park rangers and volunteers scoured the vast area. They followed every trail, searched every campsite, and pursued every lead. The search parties worked tirelessly, their determination fueled by a glimmer of hope. Hope dwindled with each passing day. The missing women's car, a blue Nissan, sat abandoned at the trailhead. It offered no clues. The mystery deepened. The mountains held their secrets tight. On June 1st, 1996, the grim truth surfaced. A group of searchers made a horrifying discovery. They found the bodies of Julianne and Laura in a remote area of the park. Their campsite, hidden from view, became a crime scene. The tranquility of Shenandoah was shattered. The idyllic park was now a place of tragedy. The news of the discovery sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. The question on everyone's mind was a simple one. Who could commit such a heinous act? The investigation into the murders of Julianne Williams and Laura Winans began immediately. It would be a long and arduous journey for justice. The FBI joined the investigation, lending their expertise to the case. They meticulously collected evidence from the crime scene. Every footprint, every fiber, and every piece of evidence was scrutinized. The investigation was complex and challenging. Leads were scarce. Witnesses were few. The killer, it seemed, had vanished like a ghost in the wind. Years passed, and the case grew cold. Frustration mounted for the families of the victims and the investigators alike. The authorities remained determined. They chased down every lead and interviewed countless individuals. They never gave up hope of finding the person responsible for this senseless tragedy. Whispers in the wind. For over 2 decades, the case remained unsolved. But time, often an obstacle to justice, can also be a powerful ally. In the case of Julianne and Laura, time brought about advancements in forensic technology. It also loosened lips. Investigators revisited old evidence with new techniques. They re-examined DNA samples and meticulously pieced together the puzzle. Whispers from the past began to emerge. New leads surfaced. The investigation was reignited. The authorities followed the trail of evidence wherever it led. It led them to a name that would send chills down the spines of those familiar with the case. The Shadow Falls. In 2018, the FBI announced a major breakthrough in the case that had haunted the Shenandoah National Park for years. They had identified a suspect, Walter Leo Jackson Sr., a man who had been on their radar for years. Jackson was no stranger to law enforcement. Jackson had a history of violence against women, with multiple arrests and a lengthy criminal record. He had been a person of interest early on in the investigation, but there was never enough evidence to make an arrest. At the time of the murders, Jackson had worked as a maintenance man in Shenandoah National Park. His job gave him access to all areas of the park. He knew the park's trails and hidden areas like the back of his hand, making him an elusive suspect. Despite this, there wasn't enough evidence to charge him. The case went cold, leaving families and investigators frustrated. Until now. New DNA evidence, obtained through advanced forensic techniques, linked Jackson to the crime scene. This breakthrough was the result of years of persistent work by dedicated investigators. The pieces of the puzzle finally fell into place, bringing a sense of closure to a case that had long been a shadow over Shenandoah National Park. A mother's plea. Despite the overwhelming evidence against him, Jackson maintained his innocence. He refused to cooperate with authorities. His refusal to confess only deepened the pain for the families of the victims. In a heartbreaking plea, Laura Winans' mother, Sheila Winans, spoke directly to Jackson. She urged him to take responsibility for his actions. She pleaded with him to provide closure for the families who had suffered for far too long. Jackson's silence spoke volumes. Justice delayed. In 2020, Walter Leo Jackson Sr. was charged with the murders of Julianne Williams and Laura Winans. He was brought to justice after 24 long years. Due to his failing health, the trial was delayed. He died in prison in 2022, before he could stand trial. While the families of the victims found some solace in knowing that their loved one's killer had been identified, the lack of a trial left many questions unanswered. The case, though closed, remained a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk in even the most beautiful places. The legacy of Julianne Williams and Laura Winans lives on. A legacy of loss. The murders of Julianne and Laura serve as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of life. They highlight the importance of safety awareness and the unpredictable nature of evil. Their case remains one of the most high-profile, unsolved murders in Shenandoah National Park's history. In the wake of the tragedy, park officials increased security measures. They implemented new safety protocols and educational programs for visitors. The hope is to prevent such a horrific event from ever happening again. But the scars of the past remain. They serve as a reminder that darkness can touch even the most idyllic corners of the world. Unanswered questions. The resolution of the case brought a sense of closure to the families and the community. However, some questions lingered, casting a long shadow over the sense of justice achieved. The answers to these questions remain elusive, leaving a void that is felt deeply by all those connected to the case. What motivated Walter Leo Jackson Sr. to commit such a horrific act? Was it a moment of madness, or was there a deeper, more sinister reason behind his actions? And these are the questions that gnaw at the minds of those who seek to understand the incomprehensible. Why did he choose Julianne and Laura as his victims? Was it a random act of violence, or were they specifically targeted for reasons that remain hidden in the shadows of the past? The lack of clear answers only adds to the pain and confusion felt by their loved ones. These are questions that may never be answered. The silence surrounding these mysteries is deafening, leaving a haunting echo that reverberates through the lives of those left behind. They are questions that haunt the victims' loved ones, the investigators, and perhaps even the depths of Shenandoah National Park itself. The park, with its serene beauty, now holds a dark secret that it cannot reveal. The case, though closed, continues to fascinate and frustrate those who seek to understand the darkest corners of the human psyche. It serves as a grim reminder of the capacity for evil that exists within humanity. The beauty of Shenandoah remains. Its rolling hills and lush forests continue to draw visitors from around the world, offering a sanctuary of peace and natural splendor. But it is forever marked by the tragedy that unfolded there. The memory of Julianne and Laura lingers, a poignant reminder of lives cut short and dreams unfulfilled. The story of Julianne Williams and Laura Winans serves as a chilling reminder that evil can lurk in the shadows, even in the most breathtaking of landscapes. Their story is a testament to the fragility of life and the enduring quest for justice and understanding.